Welcome back to The Price of Business. I am your host, Kevin Price, talking to you about you and your business on this Friday morning. And continuing our talk, we're doing a lot of focus about companies that have reached the Inc. 5000, which is an incredible achievement. And we've got one of those companies here today. We've got Gary McGraw, and he is CTO of Cigital.com. And Gary, welcome to the program. Give us your elevator speech, if you will, before we get started with the interview.
Thanks. Good morning. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah.
Cigital is the global leader in helping organizations design, build, and maintain secure software. Software security is kind of the idea of building software so that it performs properly even when it's under malicious attack. So building security in from the start is the idea. It's a new paradigm in computer security and a really important one.
Okay. Yeah. And I'm trying to wrap my brain around it here. I won't say that I'm real technologically savvy, but I do, hundreds of interviews, it seems, every year in technology-related spheres. And so a lot of what's going on now, I mean, obviously there's a lot of protocol and barriers and that type of thing. The bigger the company, the more the protocols and the barriers and firewalls of protection. Mm-hmm. How are you different from, those other systems that create special servers just for their clients to try to protect them? Help me out a little bit.
We have to do that stuff still. But the old paradigm of computer security was about protecting the broken stuff from the bad people by putting a thing in between. We call that thing a firewall.
Right.
Unfortunately, that's not working very well. So I came along in the mid-'90s with Cigital, and we said, hey, why is that stuff broken anyway? What can we do to make it less broken so that you can't just attack it and so that your only recourse is a firewall? So we've been teaching developers and architects and companies who build software, which these days is just about every company on planet Earth, how to do it right from a security perspective.
Okay, so you're consultants to software makers rather than the makers of software itself?
You got it. A little bit of both, actually. We make software to help software makers make better software. How about that?
You make software to help software makers make better software.
You got it. That's
okay.
Exactly
That's
right.
a bit much for a Friday, but I'll try to absorb that. So, because and is it a difficult sell?
Actually, it's not to especially financial services organizations. We have tons and tons of customers in financial services. It accounts for about 60% of our business these days. So every global multinational financial services organization is really concerned about software security, and we're helping them build large-scale initiatives to train their tens of thousands of developers to do things properly.
But I would assume there's some push just from the idea of you can't do that. There's not a way to do that. You don't get that kind of push?
Sure, we get that sometimes by people who don't know any better.
Yeah.
But we've been doing it for about 15 years now.
Really?
Yep.
Why haven't I not heard of you guys before now?
Because we're deep geeks. You're a radio guy.
Deep geeks. Yeah. Sounds like a rock group. Anyway, yeah. So that's interesting. That's absolutely fascinating. So what are, so financial companies, obviously, they stick out. I would think companies that are frequently targeted by people that are hackers. I would think like media companies would love to have you as a client. What are some other ones?
Yeah, so the game manufacturers are one, but the second biggest vertical is actually independent software vendors. So companies like Microsoft and EMC and SAP and even those software companies who create security software, which is different than software security, like McAfee and Symantec. So we work with all of those guys to help them teach their developers how to do a better job from the get-go.
So you make security software.
For software security.
Oh, there you go. Oh, my goodness.
Maybe this would be better on a Saturday. I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know. No, actually, it's great. I think it's fascinating and I like what you do and encourage people to learn more about it. Cigital.com. I'm assuming that your clients are at least mid-market, if not borderline enterprise or enterprise.
Yeah, they are definitely heavier in the enterprise space, and we work with a ton of Fortune 50s, as you might imagine.
What percentage are in would you call enterprise?
Probably 80%, maybe 90%. I haven't actually sliced it up that way, to tell you the truth.
And what's a small company for you?
A small company for us would be, maybe
a small city
company.
for anyone else.
Small city, yeah.
Sometimes I crack me up. I wish I could make my audience do that, but hey, you know what? At least I'm enjoying myself. But a small company, how many thousands of employees, or what kind of revenue are we talking about?
You mean among our customers?
Yeah.
So many of these companies have about 1,000 developers. So that would be kind of the mid-sized company for us. That's 1,000 people building software. The big ones, like Bank of America and J.P. Morgan Chase, those guys have more like 15 to 20,000 developers.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of people to teach how to do
you're
stuff,
not.
Right?
I mean, a small company would have how many employees?
Well, a really small company,
your smallest customer. You don't even have to say their name. How many employees do they have?
Oh my goodness, probably the smallest maybe has 60 or 70 people. A little tiny startup.
Wow, but they have a lot of jack, I assume, and they're dealing with a lot of jack or something.
Yeah, exactly. So startups in Silicon Valley that are trying to do things right from a security perspective, because maybe they're building mobile security stuff, for example.
So from day one, they got to get that stuff in order.
You bet.
Yeah, that's interesting. How do you guys engage with potential clients? How do you begin a relationship with them?
We do all sorts of different things. So we provide training for developers. We provide tools for developers to use in their desktops. We talk to architects. But most importantly, the way that we engage is with senior executives who understand that they are carrying software risk that they don't want to carry. And so we help them to build a software security initiative so that they can change the way that they build software for their entire enterprise. It's not something that you do in a week. It's something that takes several years.
Wow, I like that. That's interesting. Really interesting. I learn something new every 3.5 weeks. So this must have been that time of the month for me to learn something new. Very cool stuff.
Thanks.
Our guest today again is he is Gary McGraw. He's CTO of Cigital. That's CIGITAL.com.
Yep.
And where are you corporately located?
Our corporate headquarters is in Virginia, near Washington, D.C., but we've got offices all over the world. So
is the NSA a client of yours?
I can neither confirm nor deny that, but thanks for asking.
I could tell you, but then I'd have to kill you. So we don't want any of that. There's enough violence in media as it is. My producer, I got to put him back in the cage. But anyway, Gary McGraw, CTO of Cigital, interesting company, actually very fascinating. So are you guys looking at Fortune 500 yourselves for y'all?
Well, I don't know if it'll take us a while to get there. We've made the Inc. 500 twice long ago, and we just made the Inc. 5000 again almost a decade later. So we've grown a lot since the early days. And we've become a mid-sized, very profitable, very fast-growing enterprise right now.
How many employees?
290.
290, except for on Mondays or Fridays, because they have to take long weekends. But no, I'm just joking. I love your stuff, man. This is fantastic. I'm going to want to learn more. I'll probably get you back on the show sometime. And you seem to be tolerant of my humor, so that helps.
I'd be happy to chat with you. And being silly is a good thing, in my view.
Well, you know what? We need to lighten up a little bit, don't you think?
Sure.
Yeah, I'm totally for that. So we do that a lot on here, sometimes to our own peril. But Gary McGraw, CTO of Cigital, I want you to learn more about them. Cigital, CIGITAL.com. And great guest. You were a lot of fun. Thanks so much.
Thanks.
For a deep geek, you got a lot going for you, buddy.
Pleasure to be here.
All right, buddy. When we come back, much more for you. Do want to remind you, best content here shows up over there at USDailyReview.com.